about. And even though he presents it like, data knowledge, it is wisdom underneath. And so that's the thing, to remember. Because his style of speaking about it is very Geminian, very, okay, well, this is the information, these are the details. But then there's the profound wisdom piece to it. So, he does say things very profound, but not in a really deep philosophical kind of way, but in a more kind of, Gemini-like, I'm giving you information as opposed to wisdom kind of way. So he brings in a lot of references and people like that into his, astrology reels on Instagram. And also bringing in books, bringing in all these different topics, which is very Gemini. Let's take a little thing from over here, and let's tie this in, and it is very different. There's really not a whole lot of, I haven't seen too much, but not a whole lot of repetition, which is also Gemini because they don't like to repeat themselves. A lot of ideas, a lot of new different things that we have that you maybe have not considered or thought about. Certainly a lot of nuance into his work. Like, oh, I never thought about that, or oh, that's a new way to look at it, or that's something interesting. That kind of thing. And you kind of always learn something new from Colin, and he has a lot of insights and a lot of information. Now, that information is not always in the purest form, and it's distorted and tainted. It's been put through a strainer, or it hasn't been put through a strainer. Let's just say that. Because Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I want to go back to that metaphor. The light and the dark duality going on at the same time. And so the light side is somebody who is very well educated, very intellectual, book smart, all those kind of things like that. And it's situational. It depends upon the situation. So, I was watching a lecture that he did on compatibility. And he was breaking down the different polarities of signs, so Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, etc., and then talking about the compatibility of those signs in relationship in general, which was very, very well done, and he had a lot of interesting things to say, and a lot of wisdom and things I'd never thought about, and he was kind of funny, entertaining, certainly not boring. That's, one thing. Not, keeping you engaged and learning and stimulated. That's, I'll give him credit for that. So when he was doing that speech, I mean, this is public, so, it's not like I'm digging into people's files and talking about this, but he did for Stormy Grace, who's an astrologer, and she has something called the Astrology, YouTube Astrology Academy. So I did a little lecture for that where he was speaking and presenting the information in that context. It was great. And it was him being himself, but an astrological version of my high school choir teacher, because I have to compare this. If he didn't have a New Jersey, New York accent, it sounded exactly like my high school choir teacher, who is on Instagram. The account is It's Mr. Finn. Let's see. If you type that in, you'll find that account. Compare the two different compare Mr. Finn's voice on the account is Mr. Finn. Listen to his voice, and then listen to Colin Bedell's voice, and you will hear the similarity. just if he didn't have the New York accent, they'd sound almost, probably exactly alike. If I'm being honest. So, anyway, and they do have, errors going on in their natal charts. But anyway, so that's one version of Colin. And, it's so interesting because whenever, the Collins that I've spoken about, including this one and another Colin that I knew, there's some kind of problem and there's some kind of negative going on. I don't know. Now, on Instagram, he does not have any filter with what he says. It's all, no filter. He, curses, swears like a sailor, inserts that, a lot of the time, because the points that he makes are so profound, but you don't need the swearing, and you don't need the dramatics, and you don't need the obnoxiousness of that. And I was watching a little bit over an hour live stream, and it was obnoxious. It was obnoxious because he was, speaking, and he was, very intelligent and having a lot to say and talking about Saturn and Pisces, yet so much of the time, there were curse words. Thank goodness this person is intelligent and all these kind of things like that, because if not, yeah. So that is really selling yourself short, and that is not elegant. That is not sophisticated or nuanced. That is not elegant, and that's just not okay to just throw in F-bombs. And I mean, maybe there's something out there which says people who swear like that are low on intellectual intelligence or lack some kind of intellectual intelligence or something like that. And I believe it. I don't, but then I do, and so I find it really, fascinating that the same person who has all this information to give also is someone who curses regularly and thinks that that's okay to just curse and throw F-bombs all around. No, it isn't. It isn't. So, I wish I could say that if he were to come to my Minton, it would not be any expressed motives for me to bring him here at all, because there is some expressed stuff going on. Because that's wrong, and I just find that unbelievable. That's, yeah, so, I'm not kidding. And, yeah, that's kind of crazy, and that takes away from what you're saying. You're really selling yourself short, and it's not necessary. It's not right. It's just kind of obnoxious. And that's all that I want to say about that. Okay. Now, anyway, that's my spiel. It's probably pretty long already, but I'm done talking. I'm done with all this chitter chatter. Okay, now, I said that we would do something. Now, understand this. I've already filmed my videos. I've scheduled time to do the work I need to do, so I'm good. There's a video that'll come out on my YouTube channel on the Saturn return tomorrow if you're interested in that. Also, I did produce a video about Pluto in Aquarius today, and I got the dates correct. And it is March 23rd, Pluto enters Aquarius this year. So, we're going to talk about it for now. But of course, there will be no meeting because of people going to Chokan, having that trip indication going on. Okay, now, Okay. Now, alright. Now, okay, so, here is what is going to happen for the remainder of the time. So, you are going to, I have to grab some paper, so if you could just excuse me for a moment. No. Okay, forget it. Everyone can just leave. I decided upon doing something, but then I guess I don't have the materials to do that. So this is it. Try to do it another time.